can't have this. And it sounds like one of the salient pieces of first principles thinking is actually let's ask why. Let's figure that out, and actually let's
Yeah.
challenge the person across the table. And if I don't get an answer that I feel good about, I'm gonna not allow that to be. I'm not gonna let that no to stand. Is that? I mean, that feels like something that everyone. If someone were to try to do what you're doing in hardware seems to uniquely need this. In software, we have lots of fluff and things that it's like we can add more CPUs for that, it'll be fine. But in hardware, it's just not going to work.
I think these general principles of first principle thinking apply to software and hardware, apply to anything really. I'm just using kind of a hardware example um, of how we were told something is impossible, but once we broke it down into the constituent elements of we need a building, we need power, we need cooling, we need uh, we need power smoothing, and then we could solve those constituent elements. Um, but it was, and then we just ran the networking operation to do all the cabling, everything, in 4 shifts, 24/7, and I was like sleeping in the data center and also doing cabling myself. Um, and there were a lot of other issues to solve. You know, nobody had done a training run with 100,000 H100s training coherently last year. Or maybe it's been done this year. I don't know, but and then we ended up doubling that to 200,000, and so now we've got 150,000 H100s, 50K H200s, and 30K GB200s in the Memphis training center, and we're about to bring 110,000 GB200s online at a second data center, also in the Memphis area.
Is it your view that pre-training still working, and larger the scaling laws still hold, and whoever wins this race will have basically the biggest, smartest possible model that you could distill?
Well, there's other various elements that um, beside competitiveness for large AI. Um, there's for sure the talent of the people matter. Um, the scale of the hardware matters, and how well you're able to bring that hardware to bear. So you can't just order a whole bunch of GPUs and they don't. You can't just plug them in. So you've got to get a lot of GPUs and have them um, trained coherently and stably. Um, then it's like, what unique access to data do you have? I guess distribution matters to some degree as well. Like, how do people get exposed to your AI? Those are critical factors for if it's going to be like a large foundation model that's competitive. Um, you know, as many have said, I think my friend Ilya Sutskeyer has said, uh, we've kind of run out of pre-training data of human-generated human-generated data. You run out of tokens pretty fast, um, of certainly of high-quality tokens, and then you have to do a lot of you need to essentially create synthetic data, um, and be able to accurately judge the synthetic data that you're creating to verify, like, is this real synthetic data, or is it an hallucination that doesn't actually match reality? Um, so achieving grounding in reality is tricky, but we are at the stage where there's more effort put into synthetic data. And like right now we're training Grok 3.5, which is a heavy focus on reasoning.